Here with us is Florian Geisselmann. He's a wonderful actor and painter from Berlin, Germany.
Caroline Hellwig, she's a writer, actress and a filmmaker.
Waisenkind und sie ist bei ihrer bösen Stiefmutter groß geworden.
Lass die Finger vom Kind.
Hier muss man auch mal ein bisschen abdriften aus der Mitte.
Okay, here with us is Florian Geisselmann. He's a wonderful actor and painter from Berlin, Germany. He's a beautiful soul and a very kind and generous and creative, amazing person. And he also acted in The Sound of Falling, which is also running at this festival here in Gouna. And that's why we're sitting down and having a little chat here with you. Yeah.
Yeah, they were such wonderful words. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Right here next to me, I have Caroline Hellwig. Also a really lovely soul. She's a writer, actress, and a filmmaker. And I often have the pleasure to spend time with Caro in my studio where I'm painting and she's writing, and we just have a lovely gathering of working together, talking about the things, having lovely conversations, as maybe this will be, and also connecting personal topics with the art form that we just have in their hands sometimes.
Yeah. So it's kind of like you get like a little private view into what happens in the studio in Berlin. What would happen if we wouldn't be here on this like a rainy October day probably in Berlin, but we're now in Gouna, and so we're doing it here under the palm trees, which is amazing.
I love that.
Okay, let's
get
see going, how it will right? Be. Okay.
Yes. Okay, lovely. So I'll move to my first question.
Please do so.
It says, what does it mean to you when people say cinema is a universal language?
I think it means to me that, if you think of cinema, it's images, it's movement, it's shadow and light and sound, just on its base level. So it's a very easy way of communicating. I think if you have broader concepts or more theoretical questions, you can implement them in film, but the general language of film is very base level and very easy entry in a way.
Yeah.
I think it has also changed because we live in an image over dominant time in some sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
how do you think it changed to that?
I think maybe it changed the way we perceive cinema, that cinema as itself is like a different thing. Like it happens in a different circumstance.
Yeah.
In a black cube and in a different situation. But just imagery in general is so fast when it comes to communicating things.
Yeah, absolutely. And also I think probably the most percentage of a film, of any film, is people and situations. Of course, there's different things always, but people in situations is something that you don't need to know the language, you don't often need to know symbols for, but you can just feel so much that's in the room and see the energy. And as for example, like a painting is often full of symbols, and there's like a history of people who have done this before, and it's about styles often more than situations. So would you say that makes it more universal as a film
than
for example
paintings? I don't know. There's some films that have that painting like quality in that sense, or also there are films that don't really work with like people and fictional situations, but just kind of give me a feeling of a place or a feeling of an atmosphere, and even introduce me to very abstract things and make me see architecture, for example, in a completely different way. So I think the human aspect, besides humans in front of the camera, is very much the human who is creating the film, or the many humans who are creating the film. So it's the point of view that is interesting and that can also like animate objects for me if I perceive them. I think.
Yeah.
But that would also go along for painting in some way, right?
It would be in the same circle.
Yeah,
but
in a way.
It's really good thing
in
to
a
mention.
way.
Like what actually do you paint? What's your objects? What's the subject matter?
Yeah.
As also in
maybe
in
cinema
film.
is just easier entry or just like moving images because it's there's the idea of it being a mass medium.
Mhm.
And maybe painting is not in that sense, or like different kinds of art forms is not in that sense.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I don't know.
do we want to change that?
To get it back into mass media, painting, different art forms. Yeah, for sure. I think it's interesting to combine things also.
Yeah.
How would we do that?
How we do that? I don't know. Well, first of all, I wanna argue if we want to do that, because there is something that comes with surreal room and like this white space attitude that a lot of paintings are in, which also cinema can be, but also people look films on their phone, and it can be in a really less conscious situation, maybe.
Watching films.
Yeah. I think it just really often happens in a really subconscious way. And if we think about paintings in like a museum,
I think it kind of breaches like the talk that we had like yesterday about the idea of like how to work with things like installation wise, or like in a cinema or in a different context, to find like the right place for that kind of particular moving image, or just image in general.
Yeah.
As we visited that installation with the train.
Maybe you want to mention that.
Yeah, it was so great. We had such a great time. What was the...
Well, just to have explain shortly, it's a train which becomes a little cinema because there's a screening in front of, like, in the train where you just sit and look at it, and also out of the windows you have screens, and therefore you feel like you're in a space, and the film is projected in different scenes on the screen in front of you and on your sides, and this just creates a really beautiful room with this digital media. And it's so, I think that was like my point in the discussion yesterday, is like it's so logic that we make films in rooms, about rooms, in situations, about situations, and then also show it in a situation rather than on just a flat screen without like, or we are behaving in a cinema like there wouldn't be a room, right? It's like this, no, it's just this clean front.
I mean, that's also the difference between having like a black cube and a white cube, right? The white cube kind of worked with like abstraction and like putting a focus and like a spotlight, and the black cube works with like opening up the space for your imagination. Yeah, but we like the train installation, really great. Thank you guys at the film festival. It was super nice, such a beautiful installation. Really liked it.
It's nice. Yeah.
Maybe also now that the festival came up, we'll kind of like try to move the topic to the festival.
Please.
Yes. Because I think I also have a question here that would kind of fit the conversation.
Please give it to me.
I mean, we will see an Egyptian film tonight. We haven't really gotten the chance to yet, but we talked a lot with Egyptian filmmakers, and we had experiences here and kind of perceived the vibe, the atmosphere, and the people from Egyptian film industry. In regards to that, do you believe that film must communicate universally, or can its strength also lie in it being very local, like a local story in some sense? I mean, also showing Sound of Falling here is kind of interesting because it comes from such a different universe.
Yeah. I think definitely both is the answer. Would be the short one. Because also in the really precise and local weird little story, I'm just thinking about the feature film you're working on right now, which is just like really, it's a really German topic, a really German world, and I don't think that's just the audience for it, right? It's really specific, and therefore it can be really seen by a lot of people and
Like-
recognized and felt by a lot of people
Yeah.
because it's so precise, and
Yeah.
then it doesn't matter what kind of words they use and if you know them or you don't, but it's a really precise situation.
Kind of like that saying of like tell the big thing small, or like, you know, the more precise you get, the more there's like an anchor for people to kind of emotionally involve themselves into it.
Thank you for summarizing. That's what I meant. Yes, exactly.
I get you.
Yeah. Yeah, but did I answer that now?
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
a very
yeah.
beautiful answer. Yeah. And I don't know, also regarding the festival, I mean, do you think that film festivals in general, because we've spoken about like different places where films are shown and the cinema and this idea of like also being able to travel with films as we are right now.
Yeah.
Do you think that for the festival here at GFF, is it more a vibe of a competition or like a shared communal experiences? Like in general with film festivals, but especially here.
First, I would talk about here. I haven't felt a vibe of competition yet.
Yeah.
In a good sense, like there's people proudly talking about their movies, and there are people wanting to get awards here, definitely. But the competition aspect, as in also being better than somebody else, I haven't felt that yet. But also I haven't spent too much time here, to be honest.
Yeah.
With our third day. But yeah, regards to other festivals, I definitely have seen competition. Yeah, I think it's something that is present in the industry, but maybe also not as present as I thought before I went into the industry. Because I think maybe I thought it was like this Shark Tank of people like just wanting to get up there, and there are those people. There are sharks, definitely, and there's also too much people for too few jobs. I think you can say that, but I think we don't too often talk about how kind most of the people are in our industry.
Oh yes.
Like, there's so many great people,
Yes.
so many great people here.
Yes.
And
yes.
Probably I'm just trying to wrap my head around what's the reason for it, and I think it could just be that in the acting sense, of course, like the main job of actors and actresses is that you have to put yourself in a really vulnerable situation and put yourself in a lot of empathy for other people, and that's like your daily job if you're doing it good. I think the same goes for filmmakers and writers too.
There's like I think like making a film, especially as an actor, I also feel that like when you act, you are in a very peculiar place because you are in so much power and at the same time really not, and it's like this very like you're at the epicentrum of what's going on, you know, of this like the box is on and then something is going to happen and we often decided that that's what we're gonna do now. And that's also so absurd of like stopping the path of reality and just being like, and now we're all gonna like roll on the floor and be monsters, you know, like do some weird shit. And that's just what we're doing.
Yeah, but that's a really good point. Like this epicentrum, it's in your
like
face.
It's like you're in the storm.
It's happening.
Yeah,
right
and
now.
there's like so much electricity like coming from that. That's so amazing. But I think also just like this momentum of solidarity in general, I think that's something that's a byproduct of filmmaking that I'm so happy to experience, and that's like a huge draw-in for me. I think in general, in any position, like whether I direct or whether I act, I think it's just this idea of like you make a film, but while making the film, there's something else like created with the crew and with the people. And that's also something so separate from the film in some sense. I mean, in some films you can really feel that, that there was something going on and like a solidarity and like
but there's also nice productions that were a great time, but the film is shitty. and vice versa.
Sure, and
There's
vice
a shitty
versa,
production,
and
but the film's great.
And the film's great.
Yeah.
But I think, and that's so strange. I think also like circling back to the thing that we were talking about
Thank
earlier.
you. Thanks for also doing the circles all the time. That's great. We need that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Where did I want to
pardon.
circle back?
Shit.
No, don't mind. The thing about the how do we watch stuff, like the screen
Right.
thing, and I think there's also something nice to like watch a film late in the evening all by yourself on like your laptop, and you see other people's lives, and then you feel lonely, and sometimes even you feel even more lonely afterwards because you spend time with people, and then you're back to the Black Mirror, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think that is something that where we can like really kind of also innovate and be like, of course, like the cinema as a room of itself, of like a shared experience, but also as we thought about like this doing more like moving image installations, because then you really have the layers of the people, you know, when we were sitting in the train in the video installation, and and we had this woman in the front row, and when the song came on, she was like clapping, and she was part of my experience, and that was so beautiful because she just like gifted that for me, and it was just her expression in a way, and she wasn't planned into it.
And that's for me is like such a beautiful example for an honest experience of true art or whatever, good art, I don't care. But it's like, I think this is really what gives this full circle moment of an artwork and the experience itself coming together to form one, and not see us human beings as like just camera lenses or just like sensors that take in information and copy paste a film that we see and can tick a box of I have seen it and put it in IMDb. It's an experience all the time, and if it's on your little couch. Yesterday you also said you often have those moments where you like, I don't know, get a text from a friend of yours, and it's not just a little text that you see, but it's a whole environment around you. It's the way you're looking at your phone, the way where you're sitting, what's the situation that you get thrown out of, and for me, this is always a goal with making art, making films, is trying to wrap everything together, to wrap and also let it be loose and let it be open for things, but wrap it together in a way that I accept broad variations of seeing the work of art in the end. And
also different, you mean also different like versions on how it can be read?
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. I think that's what makes watching a movie so great.
Yeah.
Is that you can talk after it and it's like, okay, wow. We've seen one film.
Yeah.
And got like 20 versions of how you can read it.
Also, the experience we had yesterday after the screening of Sound of Falling.
Tell me.
Yeah, just I think what we talked with our friend about, you know, this thing of like telling things in your voice in like a very particular way.
Yeah.
And I think the film does it so well. And I think it's so interesting that still there's, it's traveling now to Gouna, and we have people here seeing it and still have like they might have a different version of themselves of the film, of like scenes they kind of like grabbed or hold on to, or like, okay, that's the one that really intrigued me.
Sure,
you know, like some people were asking about the sound design, others were asking about the editing process.
Yeah.
Also very technical things, but still there was like a feeling, you know? And that's kind of interesting that there's also something that just transports that might be, we assume it's universal. We will never know for sure, but it's like...
But we feel that
it, you know? There's like
I think that's as far as we can go, right?
Yeah, right.
That, I don't know, like it was yesterday, it was our second day here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we get to a new country, even a new continent for me that I've never been to, and there's so much new stuff, and then you watch this movie with a bunch of people, and there's this weird, precise feeling that's so familiar, and that I also don't know how to talk to. So I'll talk about. So I don't know how good this works now. But
you mean to find the right words?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's also the thing. That's also the part about like why we make films. Like if we just there's things that can be said in text, and there's things that can be said in images, and there's things that can be said in movement, and
Nice.
whatever. But like there's something that can only be said by this medium. Otherwise, we would use words. Then we wouldn't need cinema. And then we could have just put it all in a neat phrase and be like, here, that's your envelope. This is what the film is about. Take it home. And if you don't get it, you're dumb. And it's like, no, that's not the point.
Yeah. That's why we're not doing podcasts all the time, because otherwise we could have just said it.
Yeah.
Right? So we don't need to make a really expensive movie. Okay. I think this brings me to my second question.
Okay.
How do you personally communicate emotion or truth beyond spoken words?
Beyond spoken words?
Yeah.
Not written words. Do they count?
It says spoken words.
Okay. Because I think there's something that I really, really like in writing that is freeing because it's very limiting.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're taking the time to sit down, especially the writing that is done by hand and not by typing.
Yeah.
And there's I can only go so fast.
Mm-hmm. I see, yeah.
And that's like, and to make a precise decision also in writing.
And it also can just be words that come out of you, right? When you're writing. Then another thing can always just be a word rather than a frame.
Rather than a frame. Yeah, and that's the limit also.
Exactly,
yes, for sure.
Yeah,
to kind of like create an image with just, and the thing is like, it's I think we were also talking about this at some other point, that like a word will always just be a word. But it's not, like sometimes it just opens up, and it's more than that, and also like the combination of things, and there's rhythm to it also. Like there's the way of doing things and phrasing things, and I think also that's why it's a different thing to do it in English, because in German there's like a very, very weird and complicated ways to say things, which is very beautiful also. To be very precise in a way, and to play with words a lot.
What's the difference between, because you mentioned it, like writing digital or handwriting? Because you two do both. I know that. What's the difference for you?
It feels like when I do, it's like different parts of myself kind of can enter the room. When I'm typing, I can be like a little bit like she's nastier than I actually am, and she's faster than I actually am, and she's more bold than I actually am. Like blah, 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 like you're just like puking onto the type thing, And when I'm writing with hand, it's a different thing. It's like it feels like a laser, like a very tight kind of tunnel stuff like coming out. But I think that's kind of like I think I probably told you, but I will, for the sake of this podcast, like retell the anecdote.
Tell the audience
that I a couple of years ago. I mean, it's been a while. I think it was like when I was like 18 or 19 or something. And I had been writing before that, but then I broke my right hand, and it was like in what's the word?
Gips, I don't know.
Gips, like I couldn't, it was like packed up. I couldn't move my hand. It was like in a little white
bandage.
Thing. A bandage, gips.
Yeah.
Casket. No, casket is like a Sarg. I don't know. I'm sorry.
No,
it's like, you know what I mean. Like I couldn't move my hand. It was like tucked in so it could heal. And then I had to learn how to write with my left hand. And that changed my writing completely. And I think that's really like the source of it in a way. To kind of like where something changed. Because it was an effort, and because I could still not stop. It was like, I need to do this. And it's way harder than it ever was. And I really need to make a decision how I will describe what needs to be described, because I can't go on for pages.
Yeah.
And that really kind of like lasered it down in a way, and that stuck with me.
So, yeah, the physical, your physical condition and your limit of writing gave the text a new
and kind of like
impulse.
if there's like a pressing impulse behind
Yeah.
it, but like the hole that it can go through is like this tiny, then it's like and then there's something coming out of it in a way.
So would you again smash your hand with a rock
to maybe rediscover it?
to rediscover it? Or maybe less brutal, tape a rock onto your hand?
Maybe we can do that with the beautiful shell rocks that we found.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
we found so beautiful rocks today. Whatever.
But I can just like ping pong it back to you because of this, like we're talking about a medium, and like something that how you work with. Because a brush is not so far away from a pen,
right.
but it's still like a completely different thing because it's versatile in a different way, And I don't know. I mean, I know that you started painting also by working in a very practical way, but I would be super interested in you. Like, what's your relationship with that? Kind of like with the tool.
Yeah, I think where it started is a lot of the groundwork for that. It's like on the construction side, painting houses inside and outside, and there everything is about the technique, and you really it's not too much about feelings on the construction side, right? It's like what kind of brush do you use, how much paint can it hold, and then also how precise can you be with it? Do you need a tape to do a clean line, or can I just do it out of my hand? And I think from this working up, my relationship to the brush in general, to paint, started to become really experimental, because I always loved the moments where I knew I'm gonna paint this wall completely white, but what I do before that nobody will see. So I could just before
you mean like in your, like when you're mixing the colors, like not
mixing the colors, because I get like I just have white paint.
Yeah,
on
sure.
construction
You just
site.
want to paint a white wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
But if the brush is like half empty, and I can just do whatever and then cover it up. This is maybe also like a notebook.
I see that.
If nobody else will come in, I can do whatever, and I can also really much experiment with the brush, not in a way that you do in a university or whatever, where you have your things and then you do a study, and then it's like this. Okay, now I will try this, and it's still like this clean labyrinth way of trying something out that I often felt is pretty narrow in the things that can get out. So because it's an artificial situation. That's what I'm trying to say. And therefore, starting at a construction site and then moving to a canvas and painting there gives me the opportunity to really work with a room and a clear situation, and where there's something precise again than this white space of a studio where it's about art. I'm not too interested in art when I'm making art, rather than experiences.
Yeah. But isn't it also kind of freeing, because it's kind of like, it's like there's no one covering.
Exactly.
There's no white wall like erasing your picture in a way.
Yeah. Now you did a circle again. Lovely. No, because that's the reason why I'm doing this. Is because now I can do my little weird things.
Yeah.
And first of all, I won't have to overpaint it. And secondly, I can be brave enough to show it somebody, even though it came from a point where I don't imagine showing it to anybody.
Yeah, I feel
and this is like painting for painting is such a lovely, vulnerable place to put yourself in, where you create from a point of privacy and move step by step to the idea of, maybe I'll bring that out. Maybe people see it.
It's kind of interesting because as we both also do act, it's like it's very not in the private. And I think it's interesting that it's like, okay, but I do want to have something where I am having a creative experience that is a little bit more sheltered.
Yes.
And then I decide what I want to share and what not. It's kind of like a different thing of doing, of having a creative experience than acting, because it's like, of course, you also decide like what you want to share and what you want to do, and it's a collaborative thing. But still,
but not too often, right? I mean, you don't write the script.
You
when
have to
you
work
play.
with...
You don't, of course, do the post production and the cutting.
Yeah.
Meaning, they can take whatever moment they want.
Sure.
And take your gaze to something and intercut it with something else, and
you just kind of like bare yourself in a way to it.
It's a lot of trust.
Yeah.
And I think it's a nice place, because then you can just do like sit in front of your camera, put something out, and somebody will do something with it. And I can also just move away from it.
It's so right.
Really
like
nice.
It's so nice. It's like, hey, you guys, you can do whatever with it. I'm not doing it. It's like it's so beautiful.
Yeah, give me digital glasses, or like, I don't care, whatever. and this is one side.
Yeah.
And the other side is just like to give ourselves a space and a room to create something that's starting from here, right? That's like not starting from somebody else, but
some authorship.
Yeah, right. A piece that starts with you and ends with you, I think, is a really cool thing.
Okay.
Nice.
We got the lucky chance to be here at this festival because of Sound of Falling, of course. Because you played in Sound of Falling. And it's this very beautiful film by Masha Shelinsky. And I can ask you some questions about it, which is really nice.
Yay!
So, I think that's a interesting thing, because we already also talked about it. Maybe to phrase it differently, what do you hope that viewers will take away from the film? Is it a message, a feeling, or a question?
The first thing that comes to mind is the feeling after the film that we together felt sometimes now, and which is, as we think, universal to a lot of people coming out of this film. And what I would wish is that the people have the strength to go through that weird feeling and somehow cope with it, and somehow find a solution to wrap their heads around what they just saw and felt. And because I think it comes from a personal point that after I have seen it the first time, really didn't know where to put my mind and my feelings and my heart. And I was just, I don't know if I've felt so much in a long time before watching that. And there's confusion, there's love, there's hate, there's maybe like every major emotion that I have known, plus a lot of that I haven't known before, at the same time. And I think finding a way to deal with this is also something that helps you personally then in your private life. If this being overwhelmed is something you can conquer, and something that you find a way to write it out, talk with people, meditate, write a blog, I don't know, do something to search for it, go into the feeling, or maybe also pause it for a second, go out of something and then re-enter the feeling. I think this is a way that you can learn a lot about yourself. That was it for me. So I hope that for a lot of people, I think. Yes. Does that make sense?
kind of like building a relationship with that tension also. Yeah.
That's a good way of saying it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's so nice that this film is making that journey that it is making at the moment. I think, I mean, I was lucky because we were both shooting, and you were shooting on the day that it premiered in Cannes, and that's why I got to see it in Cannes. It was so beautiful for me to see it in Cannes because it was like right before the momentum happened. So I could like really see it without anyone telling me, go see it, it's a good film. I could just watch it because I wanted to see it because you were in it and it sounded like such a great film. But just, not because someone said it to me, just by reading what it was about and my own perception of it. And that was so beautiful because this feeling that you're describing, I really had it when I came out of the cinema. And I think there's sometimes also happening like a momentum happening for films where it's like, okay, people, there's a buzz going on and then you have like award season and that kind of thing. And I think it's so beautiful that the power of this film is kind of like stronger than that in a way. Because many people then later on, also when, the Berlin premiere and all these things, like people have heard about the film and they're like, yeah, it's supposed to be a good film, and it has a run, it's running at a lot of festivals, but then they watch it and they're still blown away. It's kind of like, I really like that about the thing, that it kind of like really like takes you up.
Absolutely. I have this so often that I hear about a great film or it's like a classic movie that I haven't seen yet. And then I watch it and I'm like, oh, I think I heard too much good things about it.
Yeah.
If I would just stumble into it, I would probably love it. But if people's like, you gotta watch it, it's so amazing. But also with Son of Falling, I when I watched it yesterday in Gouna, I had a new experience again and a really profound, deep one.
Yeah.
And I also indeed heard a lot of good things about it. And it doesn't stop you from having an honest new experience with the film again. Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah, I mean, it's so nice. We will see where it's traveling on.
Yeah.
It's already so lovely to be here and to get into conversation. I mean, also for you to kind of like share it and bring the film, like to take this opportunity, for example, and be here and talk to people. Is there, I don't know, do you maybe have like questions for the people who are watching the film? Like, is there anything like in particular you want to know from the audience? We have another screening upcoming, so you could totally turn around and do like a Q&A in the other direction,
That's a really good idea. I think I want to know the really, really private things.
Do it now. I have a microphone for you.
Yeah, but it's probably that what I'm most interested about is not people talking about of course also like it's really well shot and is like a lot of nice proper lovely things about the film. But like there's moments of experience again, where people get exactly that connection that we talked about.
Talking about this moment of experience, how was the shooting? Maybe you want to share some of that.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it already, but yeah.
It was really weird. No, it was also great. But I just think it was such a short time and it was so fast because we were so often just doing one take of things or two. But then also it was a long time and we were just hanging out a lot also because it's like not this one main actor or actress and it's a lot of people have a lot of phases and you have some off days like everybody has, and those time areas come together so nicely because they're just walking around all the time.
Because you were there, it's kind of like all the layers were present in a way, like all the times.
And we had like main sections when we shot things, but still
Yeah.
we had days where things overlapped.
Times
And-
overlap.
yes,
Like then we're
exactly.
shooting the 80s, we're shooting the
Yeah,
1910s,
Yeah,
we're shooting.
exactly.
Yeah.
So there were like people from 1910 walking around, me in my 80s fit, and then you're sitting with 1940 people at the breakfast, and there's. It was also just like this. It's such a small village. It's ridiculous. It's one street where we shot. Like the village, it's just one street, and everybody was so crazy kind to us and gave us so much. Like this city really built this film. So many people helped us to use their property, use their machines from the 80s, like this great Landmaschine.
Yeah, the one that Andreas is driving
Yes,
in the field.
exactly,
It's so
yeah.
nice, yeah.
And also the field would have been cutting down, but they just said, "Oh yeah, if you need, hey, I'll do 2 more weeks and then we'll cut it down." And
It's
like,
also it's
yeah,
the film had such a small production value, right? It's like a
Absolutely.
relatively small film
Yeah.
compared to the other films that are also like shown at these like A festivals, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's just so often I also thought like, oh, we have such a good script. Why don't we have more money? Like, why don't I get another take? And so often this was this feeling that it was just like, oh, is it this? Yeah. But it was just like a miracle of work that Masha just really always knew when we have the moment,
Yeah.
and then
And
putting them together in
Yeah.
such a nice way.
And she definitely seemed to know what she was like, what she wanted. Then it's a different
Absolutely.
thing as an actor when you're like, I want to keep on playing.
Yeah,
Like, don't
yeah.
let me out.
Yes, yeah. No, it was a really lovely time, and yeah, hoping for part 2. No, I'm joking.
Imagine, right?
That would be hilarious. I don't think there's
Yeah.
a part 2.
Other stuff, different stuff. Moving on.
Yes. Moving on.
Let's
That's a
move
good point.
on.
Thank you for watching.
Yes, thank you for watching, having a chat with us.
Yeah, thank
We're
you
having
for
a
the
chat with each
interview.
other. It was so nice.
It was really, really lovely.
Yes.
Sweet. Bye-bye.
Bye.